The pilot came on and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to kid you. It's going to be rough." I'm Helen Young-Hayes, and I'm the founder and CEO of Activate Workforce Solutions. Before I started Activate, I was the fund manager of the Janus Worldwide and the Janus Overseas portfolios. I was Chief Investment Officer. I was a member of the Executive Committee and a director. One would think that if my job was to help rich people get richer, that there might be nothing about the kingdom in that. But I was really created to do that, and I was so appreciative of being able to do something that I really loved, with people that I loved, for people that I loved. And at $50 billion in assets, I was one of the major portfolio managers, not just at Janus, but globally. We were huge. I was huge. In 1989, I was beginning a 3-day business trip to interview CEOs and CFOs in 4 different cities. When I arrived at the airport, my first flight had been canceled, and so I was put on United Flight 232.
Sioux City, got an emergency for you.
United 232, that is Sioux City.
I have serious doubts about making the airport. Unless we get control of this airplane, we're going to put it down wherever it happens to be.
United Flight 232 was bound from Denver to Chicago.
DC-10 attempted an emergency landing.
32, we're declaring an emergency.
Cartwheel into hundreds of pieces.
We slid to a stop. There was a flight attendant, and her face was singed black, and she said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this plane is on fire. Run. Do not walk. Run away from this plane." And so I just started running. And I looked at the smoke and I thought, I just survived a plane crash. I'm going to digress for just a sec. The night before the crash, I was feeling discouraged about my faith, frankly. And so the night before the crash, I prayed and I said, "Lord, whatever you do, whatever you want me to do, I want to do it. I just want to do something for your kingdom." And so after the crash, I knew that God had a purpose for me, and being available and being eager and willing is part of my story. The last 3 years that I was at Janus were a brutal bear market, and nothing I did was right. That was an unfamiliar place for me to be. Matt, my husband, is watching me lose sleep at night and not eating, and he challenged me and he said, "Helen, tell me one reason why you are still at Janus." And I opened my mouth and I didn't have anything to say. I couldn't think of one reason to stay, and so I picked up the phone and I called the CEO and said, "I'm done." So then when I retired, that whole period of time was very much a Sabbath period. It was the richest, happiest time of my life. And in that time, I finished a study on the book of Esther, and one verse seized me, and it was, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this." It was like hearing an invitation from the Lord and hearing a calling. And so 3 years ago, I decided to roll my sleeves up and make a difference.
I was wanting to have an impact in my local community to unlock stability, permanence, and economic freedom for people who were marginalized for whatever reason. My name is Dan Cascabar. I'm the COO of Activate Workforce Solutions. People who their potential versus what they were experiencing in the workplace, it didn't match.
We wanted to create opportunities for individuals to move out of poverty permanently into self-sufficiency through full-time, full benefit, satisfying, dignifying, living wage, career path work.
Sometimes individuals are overlooked because of their background. One thing that attracted us to work with Activate is a similarity in values. Looking at an individual and recognizing that individuals have strengths and they want to find a place that they can make a career.
I grew up in a bad neighborhood with no mom or dad, so I had no idea that I would even make it this far in life.
I was born in Bhutan. I grew up there till 9 years. And after 9 years, in around 1992, 91, I had to leave the country as a refugee, and we struggled there to live.
At a young age, I was tried as an adult and went to jail. It wasn't so hard to get a job coming out of prison as it was hard to get a good job.
I was looking for a better future, so I thought this is a good opportunity to connect with Don and Helen.
I've went to job placement places before, and they were just that. They were there to place you in a job and get you a job. With Activate, I've actually had friends here. Dan actually took the time and cared about how I was doing, and you can tell when someone genuinely cares about what's going on.
One of the differences between Activate and other recruiters is that when somebody's hired, that's not when we're done. That's when we roll our sleeves up, because that's when our coaching begins. We coach everyone we place for at least 6 months, and usually far longer than that, using the workplace to have these dialogues about conflict management, assertiveness, even looking at their paychecks so that they can budget.
Me and Dan meet once a week, talk about any problems I may be having on the job. He's still with me step by step through the first part of me being at this new job.
There's this incredible similarity between what I used to do and what we do today, which is that we're on the hunt for overlooked and undervalued potential. And so we take individuals who were on average making $13,500 without us, and we're placing them into $31,500 jobs. So we're increasing income by $18,000. And that's just on day one. But it's really that internal transformation that happens that is the most magical.
As long as I put in the work, I'm guaranteed to move up at a better pay scale and rate. There's room to grow. I'm not just going to stay stagnant. I'll have an actual career.
I work hard because I don't want my kids or children to suffer like me when I was small. So Activate helps to get better future, right job for your dreams.
God is really gracious that He's given me that time since I was 27 and I was on the plane crash, because everyone deserves a second chance. It doesn't matter where you've come from, who you were. At Activate, we're flesh and blood, the gospel.